Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a surprising and urgent discovery in the world of artificial intelligence, something that challenges one of the core assumptions behind how we train large language models. A group of top researchers from institutions like Carnegie Mellon, Stanford, Harvard, and Princeton have found a flaw that could fundamentally disrupt how AI models are built and deployed, one that might already be affecting powerful systems like GPT-4 and Gemini. Let's break it down. What if more training made models worse? For years, the dominant belief in AI development has been simple: the more data you train a model on, the smarter it becomes. But a new study challenges that idea. Researchers have identified a phenomenon they call catastrophic overtraining, and it's not about hallucinations or bias. This issue runs deeper, targeting the model's very ability to adapt and fine-tune after pre-training. The findings come from a March 2025 paper titled "Overtrained Language Models Are Harder to Fine-Tune," published on the open-access platform Arxiv. Led by Jacob Mitchell Springer and co-authors from multiple prestigious institutions, the study uncovers a critical flaw in how LLMs are developed. The OM-1B experiment that proved it test their theory. The researchers used an open-source model called OM-1B, a 1 billion parameter model created by the Allen Institute for AI-2. It was the perfect size for controlled experiments, big enough to reflect real-world conditions, yet small enough to be retrained repeatedly. They created two versions of OM-1B. One was trained on 2.3 trillion tokens, the other on 3 trillion tokens, a 30% increase. If conventional wisdom held, the second model should have been smarter and more adaptable. But after instruction tuning, the opposite happened. The larger model performed worse across multiple standard benchmarks, showing up to a 3% performance drop. And this wasn't a one-off issue. The decline was consistent across different evaluation tasks and fine-tuning steps. The tipping point: around 2.5 trillion tokens. Beyond that, more training actually harmed the model's ability to adapt. Why overtraining breaks models? So what's going on inside these overtrained models? The researchers point to a phenomenon called progressive sensitivity. As pre-training continues past a certain threshold, the model's internal parameters, the mathematical representation of its understanding, become more and more locked into specific patterns from the data. This makes them fragile. Even small adjustments like instruction tuning, adapting to new inputs, or adding tiny bits of noise can destabilize the model, causing it to forget previous strengths when learning new tasks. This sensitivity isn't a random bug. It's a structural consequence of long-term training. For developers and companies who rely on fine-tuning models for specialized tasks, this could be a major problem. Multi-purpose models like ChatGPT or Claude that need to handle many kinds of tasks are especially vulnerable. Real-world impact on today's AI giants. This flaw isn't just theoretical, it may already be impacting some of the world's most advanced commercial models. Models like GPT-4, Claude, Gemini, Llama 3, and Mistral's Mixtral have been trained using massive amounts of data, often estimated in the range of 10 trillion tokens or more. But companies don't disclose the exact training limits or thresholds, making it hard to know if they've crossed the danger zone. However, users have noticed odd patterns: new versions of ChatGPT that are better at logic but worse at creativity, or models that suddenly regress in performance after updates. These may be early signs of catastrophic overtraining. Even open-source models like Mistral or Llama face similar risks as they scale aggressively. Without accounting for overtraining, fine-tuning these models for domains like healthcare, law, or education might yield worse results than expected. Can the flaw be fixed? The researchers didn't stop at diagnosing the issue, they also explored possible solutions. Techniques like lowering learning rates, applying weight decay, and carefully curating instruction data helped delay performance loss, but they didn't eliminate the problem. Even with adjustments, models trained beyond the 2.5 trillion token threshold still underperformed after fine-tuning. This reveals a tough trade-off. Longer pre-training might produce better base models, but it makes them harder to adapt later. There's no silver bullet yet. Future research may uncover better optimizers or adaptive training methods. But for now, catastrophic overtraining must be treated as a structural limitation in AI development. What this means for the future of AI. This discovery hits at a pivotal time for the AI industry. As the race to build bigger, better models continues, we now know that scale alone isn't enough. In fact, pushing too far might backfire. Adaptability is just as important as raw power, especially in high-stakes fields like robotics, healthcare, law, and education. If a model can't be fine-tuned without losing performance, then its usefulness in the real world is limited. Researchers are now asking deeper questions. Do different model architectures like mixture of experts or retrieval-augmented generation also suffer from this? Can we detect overtraining thresholds earlier? And how do we balance strength with flexibility in future models? As the field moves toward models trained on 10 or even 20 trillion tokens, we're left with one critical question. How do we know when we've gone too far? Thanks for watching. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a deep dive into the future of AI. What do you think about catastrophic overtraining? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And check out the recommended video on your screen right now for more on how AI is changing fast. See you next time.